All right, y'all. Welcome to another episode of the Ladies Locker Room.
Yup.
Listen, we gonna
Mm,
cut right to the chase today because this is a super important topic because of several reasons. As women, we should be very mindful of what's going on in our bodies, with our bodies and pay attention to how the things that's going on with our bodies affects us sometimes in such a way where it just really be having us all out here fucked up.
mhm.
um so my lovely co-host, um and my best friend ever, um she has, sis,
Yeah.
let's start. How did you come to the realization that something was wrong?
It was the pain. I have always had a very high pain tolerance, like supernatural pain tolerance, right? Like I had a doctor tell me years ago that on the pain scale where they have the little sad faces and the worst face is a 10,
Hmm.
I had a doctor literally tell me, don't play about your pain. If it's a
Mm.
10 for you, say it's a 10. Don't let this chart make you feel like you can't tell us how you feel because everybody's ability to handle physical pain is different. And I had always been able to handle a lot of physical pain. And nobody really knows why, but I have suffered from migraines since I was a child. I always had very painful menstrual cycles, and I started my period when I was 9 years old, and I was having cramping at 7. Okay. So I had
Jeez.
been dealing with pain for a long period of time. Fortunately, I had never like broken any bones or anything, but my ability to handle physical pain has always been there. And it's just always been incredibly high. And when it's to the point where I'm a 10, that means I'm almost dying. Because
Yikes.
a 10 for me would be a 20 or 30 for somebody else.
Right. So that scale that they give us, that they've often given us for years, that type of 1 to 10 type of thing going on. It was it was much beyond that.
Yes.
But oh man, and
Yes.
you know what? I always wondered why they had that scale, or they limited pain tolerance to that scale, because it would be a whole lot of times I would visit a doctor for any type of reason, and it would be beyond 10. But the thing was is that they never. This is my first time hearing of a physician making you comfortable enough, or wanting to make you comfortable enough to be honest about what's going on.
Right. Because it's like everybody can tolerate something different. And a 10 for me, that's death. Like I'm about to die.
Not death.
A 10 for somebody else, a lot of people may not even feel like they are at a 10. They may say their pain is like a 5, right? But that might be the most pain they can bear, you know? And so for me, I can withstand a lot of physical pain. And therefore I have to be very honest because people, particularly unfortunately, the medical community is still very biased towards Black women because of the racist history of the medical field. So you have to always be very brutally honest. Like I had a miscarriage at 5 months pregnant. They thought I was at term. I was in so much pain having contractions, I could barely speak
Wow.
to tell them I am early. I'm a whole trimester early. I'm not at term. Don't sit up here and tell me you about to deliver these babies. You know what I mean? Because I was in so much pain at that point that just speaking, trying to tell them what was going on with me was virtually impossible. So I've always had to be very like I got to get your attention. So I have grabbed nurses by their hands and by their arms to get them to focus on what I'm saying, that I am in an extreme amount of pain
Like you're not listening, ma'am.
and you're not listening to me. You're thinking this is something that is not. You're thinking this is not as serious as it is because physically I can withstand it. But the reality is, it is very severe. And if you were to take my pain and put it in somebody else's body, they're going to drop dead.
Right.
So, for years, I felt fine. I had no clue that I had fibroids. I got my tubes tied. I was 31 years old. I had made the decision then that I was not going to have any more children. I did not want to suffer any more miscarriages because they could never figure out what exactly was causing my miscarriages. Every miscarriage had some little underlying something that they said it was a commonality, but they could never figure out what that commonality was. So instead of putting my body through that constant trauma and putting my emotions through that constant trauma, I decided I just didn't want to have no more kids. I already had one. He was fine.
You was
Ain't had no
content with that.
problem. I was cool. And if I ever, they were like, that once you get your tubes tied, and because the method I had was very permanent, completely not reversible. If you meet a man, what if he want to have kids? He either gonna have to already have children of his own and be happy with however many he got,
Or be happy with not having a.
or be happy with not having none. Because, the most we gonna do, we can get a puppy. Ain't no babies coming out of here
That's the
no
closest you
more. Unless he wanna pay for a surrogate.
get. Jesus.
But ain't nobody about to have no more babies over here. And I don't care how it make him feel. If you
Right.
want children to the point where that's the most important thing, I'm not the woman for you.
And at least though, I mean, you were resolute with that though.
And very honest about it. Any
Yeah.
man I dated, they knew what was up. Ain't no babies. Don't try to, I had a dude think he was gonna trap me into a relationship with a baby. I'm like, nigga, I can't get pregnant. What you talking about? Fuck you mean? Ain't no babies coming out of this uterus no more.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I don't think I ever heard of a dude maybe trying to project down the line that you was gonna be pregnant after this last hump. You know how some bras be lying, talking about they had a baby or
I
was pregnant with
mean,
a baby, but the dude was vasectomized. I mean, I
I
don't
mean,
know.
I don't know. All I knew was he was stupid if he thought that he was gonna have a baby with me and that he was gonna be able to control me with a child because wasn't no baby gonna happen. I don't care what you do. Like literally, bro, you will never get me pregnant.
Right.
I don't care what your little friends tell you.
They lied.
They lied. It is medically, physically, and religiously impossible for you to put anything in this uterus. Okay? It ain't gonna happen. Jesus could not come out this uterus. Just very clear. So, 31 years old, when you don't have children anymore and you don't have the ability to have children anymore, they don't give you ultrasounds.
Mm,
Okay? The only true way to know for a fact if a woman has uterine fibroids, or anything else like endometriosis or anything related, is for her to have ultrasound. There's no medical reason to give you an ultrasound if you cannot have children anymore,
yeah.
unless there's something else going on with you and you say to the doctor, there's some stuff going on in my abdominal region. But from the time I was 31 and healed from having my tubes tied, all the way until I was 43 or so, I had no significant pain outside of having my menstrual cycle. And that had started to decrease. But what made me know something wasn't right was when the pain started to increase again.
Did
Because
you
I had a
take like
nice little long
immediate
stretch.
steps? Did you take immediate steps though? Like,
Well,
or
here's the thing. Again, I have a high tolerance for pain. A good 10 years, we're going to say a good 10 years, from 31 to 41, I had less problems with my menstrual cycle. They had lightened up, they had shortened. I thought I was about to hit menopause. I was happy.
Give
Because
it to
remember,
me
I had to
early.
listen. I had started at 9. I
So
thought I
might
was
as
gonna
well.
end early because I started early.
What you said might as well be me.
Listen, I can't have no babies no way. Let's get it over with. Hey. So when the periods got lighter, they got shorter. I was like, yeah, this about to be good. I'll probably be done with all this in my 40s. That's what's up. But then something happened, and I started having really bad back pain. I started having really bad cramping. The bleeding started to increase again. The duration started to become longer again. And I was like, I don't understand this. This is crazy. Then you read about stuff, you go to the OBGYN, and if you have a history of heavy menstrual cycles, they say, well, it fluctuates. You had a nice little 10-year gap. It's just probably, getting ready for perimenopause, but it might lighten up again. They try to be very positive about it. And it was like, okay, well, fine. My pelvic exams weren't even showing anything odd because I was still getting my pap smears and I was still having pelvic exams during my annual OBGYN visits. And they could not detect fibroids with those exams.
Which I'm sure made it even more confusing though.
Exactly. So I was like, what the hell? I I mean, other than being when I was on my period, I felt good though, right? But then the pain was more than as time progressed, the pain was happening more frequently than just when I was on my period. And it was happening to the point where leading up to my period, I would have extreme painful cramping and stuff. And then my cycle was starting to get so heavy to the point where I was soaking through pads.
So now we are at a definite cause for alarm.
Something is really, really bad. Okay, something's really, really wrong. So there was a period of time where I did not have health insurance. And getting on Medicaid and stuff like that was hard because Trump was in office. So I pretty much had to wait until I was able to acquire health insurance again. By that time, it was so much pain and so many weird things happening. I was having night sweats, hot flashes, migraines was coming back more frequently, extreme cramping, extreme back pain. My arthritis was out of control in my knees, and like I would go to my orthopedic doctor, and he would send me to physical therapy because my knees were swelling, my IT band was irritated from a prior MCL injury, but it seemed like it never was completely healed. It was giving me problems. I was going to get massages. I had went to the chiropractor, all
Just trying
kinds of stuff,
everything.
trying to manage the pain because I had no idea where the actual source of it was coming from.
So then the wait though, while enduring all that, then to try to get some insurance, and then what? Like what did it start getting like immediately better? Did it was it a
Oh hell
long
no.
ass
It got
process?
worse. It got worse.
Oh my gosh.
Because I had an OBGYN who bragged about having been taught by my prior OBGYN, the one who had done my tubal and had been my doctor since I was 18, but she was on some bullshit. Um, I had inquired about getting a uterine ablation because my periods were so heavy. And I had read and talked to women that I knew who had had them, who had suffered from heavy menstrual cycles, but they did not have fibroids.
Mm.
It only works on women who don't have fibroids. And she, being the OBGYN, should have known that. She ordered an ultrasound, but she never discussed the findings of the ultrasound with me,
Nor your options.
nor any other options other than the uterine ablation. Okay. So just because I inquired about it, as my doctor, you're supposed to tell me if I don't qualify for it.
Of course.
Part of your job. That's what diagnoses are for, to tell people what's going on with them and what their options are and what their options are not. She never gave me that. She was always in a hurry. She was not like she was she never returned my phone calls. Like I never talked to her on the phone. If I wasn't in her office face to face with her, we never had a conversation.
So just as a short piece of education for you listeners is that uterine ablation is basically destroying the lining of your uterus.
Exactly. So that your periods will either stop or be a lot lighter in duration and heaviness.
So, but then by you thinking that was, I mean, you didn't have very many options, so you went with what she
I wasn't
recommended.
told that I had any other options because I wasn't properly diagnosed. Because she ordered an ultrasound. The ultrasound was done. The nurses who do your ultrasound are not allowed to tell you what's going on. Their job is to follow the doctor's order, do an ultrasound, then document what they find, but
Yeah.
they are not to discuss that with you. Okay. And because I had not already been diagnosed with anything like pregnancy, the nurse is not going to say anything. Now, if it was a situation I was pregnant, she said, "Oh, we can see the baby. Here's his fingers and his toes. It's a
Right.
boy or a girl." But I had no other prior diagnosis. So she's not going to sit there and say, "Ooh, girl, you got fibroids." That's not part of her job. That is giving a diagnosis. That is not part of her job. Her job is to see them, document them, put them in the system, and send the information to the doctor. The doctor is supposed to then have a discussion with me about those things, and she never did. And I called her office repeatedly asking questions because we had scheduled a surgery that was supposed to take place during December of 2019.
So
It
real
was
reason.
supposed to be the week after Christmas, in fact, because I was already off work, already had the time off. She had agreed to that. They had scheduled it. The surgery suite and everything was booked.
Like you had to make arrangements. You had to
Yes,
rearrange it.
yes, had to make arrangements.
Mm.
And I was a caregiver of my grandmother with dementia. Things had to be put in place for this to occur. And the recovery time was a week. Like you took a week off after the procedure and then you were able to go back to work.
Mm.
So this heifer waits till the week before the surgery to have her office. Now, mind you, if I wasn't in her face, I didn't have a conversation with her. And I was getting very angry and frustrated with her because you know, I
As
got
you
my
should.
letter saying that we were having surgery and everything, but I still got questions. I'm trying to get my questions answered before the surgery. She wasn't returning my calls. She might have a nurse call me back, but then I tell the nurse, I got questions. I got A, B, C, D, E, F, G question, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the nurse say, okay, let me talk to the doctor and I'll call you back. I still hadn't talked to the doctor directly though. And at the same time, I was in so much pain that I just wanted help.
From somebody.
I was depressed. I was in excruciating pain daily. I was tired of taking pain medication because I had to take it all the time. I didn't want to destroy my organs with over the counter pain meds, but I
Cause
was in so
can.
much pain that I needed to take something. And I couldn't get a prescription for nothing because I couldn't get the damn doctor on the phone. And I was just like frustrated to the point, but I was begging for help. Literally, I would be in tears talking to the nurse or the staff member, whomever she would have call me back. I would be in tears. So when I got the phone call and they actually left a voicemail, I didn't pick up the call right away. I don't know why, but they left a voicemail. So as I'm listening to the voicemail, they're telling me that the doctor wants to reschedule my surgery to January of 2020.
But you had already taken time off work.
Everything. I'd already taken time off work, already, had made the arrangements. So a lot of things had already been put in place to have the surgery the week after Christmas. I burst into tears. I literally just burst into tears, and I called the staff member back, and I told her, I said, "This is not going to work for me. I need help. I need help now. Is there another doctor that can do the procedure? Is there another doctor you can send my chart to? They can call me. I'll take another doctor because this is some bull. I'm in pain. I feel like I'm dying. I'm bleeding all through my clothes, my sheets, everything. I could no longer have white sheets on my bed.
That's crazy. It's
And
it's the fact that it's the fact that you made all of the necessary arrangements to have this done so you could go about healing and get back to your life, hopefully finding some type of relief.
oh, it gets worse. So the staff member also proceeds to tell me that the reason why the doctor wants to change my surgery is so she can go on vacation.
Listen, y'all. I when I say I was mad, I was
And you
mad.
don't expect that this is a woman doctor. So you expect somebody to have a little more empathy, right?
Yeah, man, but I was pissed because how? What
Mm-hmm.
is this the whole reason?
Because she
You
want to go
I
on
have not
vacation.
been and you've been unavailable to me, motherfucker, because you are planning on your vacation that clearly you disregarded everything about my care to proceed with something like that. What?
And it gets worse. So January finally rolls around. Wait, let me back up before I get to that. She would not allow another doctor to treat me. She
So
would not allow another doctor to look at my chart. She would not allow another doctor to consult with me. She would not allow another doctor to do the procedure.
listen,
She
okay.
said, no, I'm going to do it, but I ain't going to do it till I get back from vacation.
I was gonna say this for later, but I can't. Right? So
And I
it,
begged. I'm talking about, I called the hospital to complain about her moving my surgery so she could go on vacation and not allowing another doctor to step in. I did. Nobody called me back. But she comes back from her little vacation, ready for the surgery and everything. Okay. She wants to perform the surgery on MLK Day. We go in for surgery. You were there with me. Go in for surgery. Had a procedure. It's outpatient. They consider it outpatient. So they
yeah.
I got sent home the same day. Healing is supposed to be 6 weeks, meaning 6 weeks with no activity in that area other than bathing. Okay. But I could go back to work after a week.
Which is just so many
Well,
questions.
listen,
Yeah.
after that first week, things start tapering down, right?
Yep.
But then I wasn't supposed to get a period again.
Right.
After 6 weeks, I wasn't supposed to get a period again. After 6 weeks, I got a period again.
And I was like, what? Girl.
Exactly. Wait, this ain't supposed to be happening. What the fuck?
No.
Something ain't right. Then the pain came back. The pain subsided for like 6 weeks. Then it came back, and it came back with a vengeance.
That's so did I say I was mad?
Listen,
I was
and
pissed.
imagine I
And
called the doctor's office and I asked to speak to a nurse because I know the doctor ain't gonna come to the fucking phone. I asked to speak to the nurse. I get to talk to one of the nurse practitioners and I tell her what's going on with me. She calls me back and she says that the doctor prescribed some type of medication. So she called it into my pharmacy. I get the medication, I take it. I tell her I need to schedule an appointment because something's not right. So I schedule the appointment to see the doctor because something's not right. The appointment is like not for like 2 more months though, because by this time we in the fucking pandemic. We in the
so things
beginnings
have
of it.
changed. The way that you are able to make an appointment at this time changes. It's
Yes,
pushed out even further. There's not a lot of availability.
exactly,
A host of things.
exactly. Because so now we in the pandemonium. and that changes my ability to get to the doctor ASAP. So months pass. I think it was at least two almost 3 months passed. I'm
Yep.
still having a period, and it's not better. Like the first 2 days, spotting. Day 3, 4, 5, dying. Day 6, 7, 8, 9, sometimes 10. So now it's long again, and it's painful, and it's heavy still. The medication that the doctor prescribed didn't do shit. Literally didn't do shit. It might as well have been a placebo because it ain't do shit.
But all of those things that you thought that you were going to be escaping and long ago on the road to recovery, like real recovery though.
Right.
So then now is affecting other parts of you. You talked about depression. Like
Yeah.
I
Depression, don't want
can't
to go
imagine. That's why I
nowhere, and
said I
we
was
already
mad
in the
because I think
pandemic.
mad is the only thing. Yeah, mad was the only word I could come up with that I can't even think of another word right now
Yeah.
because even thinking back on it, it's like, but you could have killed my friend though. You really could have affected more than what you did, but for the shit that you did affect, I'd have choked you out on sight.
Yeah. Yeah. Also, she could go on vacation. Mind you, again,
So you could do
communication was
what?
poor.
Ugh.
Communication poor as fuck. Like this heifer don't even talk to her patients about shit. So next thing, my appointment with her comes up. Looking her dead in her face, telling her exactly what the fuck is going on. Telling her something is not right. The surgery did not work, and I don't understand why. What is going on with me that it didn't work? She looked confused in a motherfucker. It should have worked. I don't know why it didn't
It
work.
should have worked. I don't want to hear none of that. What? What?
We'll just give it some more time.
We'll just give you some more teeth. What?
Listen, she said, we'll just give it some more time. And then if nothing changes, we'll explore other options.
Oh no, baby. Mm-mm.
I said, let me get the fuck out of here before I go to jail. My brain said,
Seriously.
we're getting a different doctor. My brain said to my body, to every part of me, my brain said, we're getting another doctor because this bitch is on some fuck shit. What the fuck she mean? We'll wait and see.
Right.
By this time, the surgery was like almost a year ago. You talking about my surgery was in January of 2020. My doctor's appointment was like in August or September of 2020 because of the amount of time that passed with being able to get the appointment because of COVID.
But the math wasn't mathing though out the gate because you set me up for a procedure no matter how minor or outpatient you label it. You really had my life on the line for doing something or authorizing something that is not fit for my body
But
or is
wait,
not.
we got to get to how I found out it wasn't fit for my body. Now, mind you, we in the pandemic now. I start the process of looking for a different OBGYN. And because we're in the pandemic, it takes longer to get your appointments
Yep, everywhere.
everywhere at this point. But now we in 2021 now, okay? We've been in the pandemic a hot year. We in 2021. I'm finally able, but we not at the beginning of 2021. Like this is 2021 towards the end of that year. And
Yep,
I'm finally able to get a list. Okay. A doctor sent me a list. My primary care physician sent me a list of African American OBGYNs specifically, because this woman wasn't black, but she wasn't white neither.
Okay.
So he sent me this listing of African American female OBGYNs that he recommends. Okay. And he sends them to me with, is no specific criteria other than they accept my insurance, but he didn't narrow it down to like anything that was, it was more so these are the doctors that I would recommend if you was my wife or my daughter or a woman that I care about
Right.
and you were
Which
going through
much
this.
appreciated though.
Right. They do accept your insurance. I don't know if their location is convenient for you or not, that kind of thing. So I start going through this list. And in the meantime, we in the pandemic, I'm working, I got my grandma, there's still shit going on, but I know I need a different doctor. End of 2021, I'm able to make an appointment, but the appointment is not until May of 2022, honey.
Listen, how 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 do you not feel defeated after hearing some shit? Like, cause there's been so much going on already, and then to have to go through these measures, you're now back at square one, if not worse.
Right.
And then now we here.
And I still don't know what the
That
fuck is wrong with me.
sounds exhausting as fuck.
Yeah. And I still don't know what the fuck is wrong with me. Right. I don't know why the surgery didn't work. I don't know nothing. Okay. So, May
Oof.
2022,
Oh,
my appointment comes. And before that, like between the 2021 date of me getting this list of doctors and me making the appointment and the actual date of the appointment, I noticed I could no longer lose weight. Like my waistline had expanded.
was that scary, Bazin?
Yes,
I
because I
can
know I ain't
imagine it.
pregnant. I know I ain't pregnant, but my clothes don't fit right. Ain't nobody looking at me telling me I look like I gained weight, but my clothes don't feel right.
But you knew it.
I knew it. Pants that I had previously needed a belt to wear were now too small in the waist, and I could not wear them. They
I
were
can imagine
uncomfortable.
that being scary. I can.
Yes. And I had worked really, really hard getting my waist down to a nice little 29 inches, honey. And I was out here without no shaper on and everything, feeling really good about myself before this happened. And I was like, why is my waist getting so big?
Yeah.
And it was one of those things where it had been happening gradually, but I had been trying it hard to maintain a exercise regimen, even with the pandemic and everything going on. And I sometimes didn't have a very good appetite because I was in so much pain that it was affecting my appetite anyway. I didn't feel like eating sometimes. And I was like, I can't wait to go to the doctor. It's like, yay, I can't wait. This was like going to Disney World for me. And I got my new black woman doctor.
Finally,
And
yes.
yes. And by this time though, I'm having problems going to the bathroom. It's painful to use the bathroom. Even to pee. It's painful by this time. And I drink a lot of water. So
Yeah.
I'm always peeing.
Yeah. Always.
I'm always peeing. Shit. I pee 4, 5 times in an hour sometimes if I've been sitting there drinking water.
But that's
And I got a tiny
another
bladder
thing.
anyway. So it's kind of like my bladder ain't that big, no way, but I drink a lot of water.
And that's another thing though, is listen to y'all. If it's something wrong, do not wait. If it's something wrong, when you go see your physician, your primary care physician, make
But be persistent.
be persistent. Take control of your care.
Because I think that I would have been able to resolve this a lot faster had there not been a pandemic.
That's true, but at the same time, I think about how much more persistent you are in contributing to your own self-care, about taking care of your health or being on top of it. And I think about all the people that probably don't even ask half of what the hell you asked, even
And
to
I
try to
think
get
that's
it done.
because we're trained to just, trust. I got trust issues. So, and I have trust issues because of motherfuckers like the first doctor. Okay. That's why I have fucking trust issues because of motherfuckers like her. But it was one of those things where I was like, okay, I'm going to see this new black woman doctor. Yay. Hopefully she can figure out what the fuck is wrong with me. We can figure out what to do with it and I can move forward in my life. Because now I'm 47 years old. I'm tired. I
Yeah.
don't want to do this no more. I don't want to feel like this no more. I don't want my body to look like this no more. Because this is not how I had planned to spend my 40s, okay? This wasn't the plan. This is not what we were supposed to be doing.
Right.
So
That,
I
you know
go to the
what though,
doctor.
that I could see that being, that it had to be exhausting to the point though where it's like, when you get up in the morning, what the fuck, or when you trying to
I
take
couldn't
a
hardly
nap,
get out
or
the bed. I mean,
that's
it was I could hardly get out the bed. Like it was I was suffering. And I don't believe as black women that we need to walk around suffering. I was like, this is completely the opposite of how I plan to spend my life. This is the opposite of what I would tell any other woman to deal with. This is the opposite of how I see myself in this world. I don't I don't believe that I'm supposed to be walking around here in pain and suffering. Period. And again, I'm speaking to somebody with this really supernatural pain tolerance. I don't like it though. And I don't feel like I should live my life in constant pain. That ain't what I want. It
uncomfortable.
don't it
But
don't do right. It don't bring me joy. It
yeah,
don't bring me love. It don't make me money. I don't want it. So I get to the doctor's appointment and it's a full exam. I'm a new patient to her. We doing everything. We drawing blood.
as they should have.
We checking for STDs. We doing all of that. Okay. I'm talking to the nurse now. Mind you, doctor is running late because doctor's delivering a baby.
Understandable.
But doctor staff is letting me know every 10, 15 minutes or every time they even hear from her how far away she is. Because she's not necessarily in the hospital that her practice is closest to delivering this said baby. Okay.
All right. So
But
variables.
they checking on me. Do you want some water? You want to go for a walk and come back? You know what I'm saying? But I'm comfortable. They done took all my vitals and everything. They done asked me all the important upfront questions about my sexual activity, last period, all of that. They got all of that on out the way.
Did you
I done,
immediately feel more comfortable?
I felt way more comfortable. They were way more, I would say, attentive, and they were very kind. And I was even able to tell them about the bladder. Like my bladder hurt. I hurt when I pee, and it ain't supposed to hurt when I pee. And I don't have no UTI. I
Mm.
don't have no yeast infection. Why
Yeah.
hurt when I pee? You know? And the doctor gets there, and I'm her first patient. I was her first appointment, so I'm the first person she gonna see when she get there.
Okay, that was cool.
I'm ready for the pelvic exam because the nurse done got me ready for it. Because again, they've been checking with the doctor how far away are you? What's your ETA? Okay, I'm gonna put her in her gown. Da 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 da. Okay, Miss Jones, time to put your gown on. Da 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 da. She'll be here shortly.
Okay, so everything was pretty seamless out the gate.
And they were communicating. Okay, they ain't just put me in a room, leave me there, and was like, okay, bye.
All good
They
things.
right, they was communicating with how soon to expect the doctor. When the doctor came in, she washed her hands and everything, she put on a mask and whatnot, and she was ready for that pelvic exam. And we having a conversation. And she's asking me the same thing the nurse did, but it's reiteration. The nurse is still there. The nurse is also chiming in on things that she recalled and that I told her that she put in my chart.
Mm.
We do the exam and it hurts. I had never had a pelvic exam hurt in my life.
They're not supposed to.
They're not supposed to hurt. And she's pressing on my stomach and she said, "Oh, baby." She said, "Sweet pea." She called me Sweet pea. "Sweet pea, you got fibroids." I said, "What?" I said, "What, are they new?" Because in 2019, I,
Fibroids weren't part of the conversation.
that was not part of the conversation. I had a uterine ablation in 2020. Where did they come from? Did they occur after that? She said, "I don't know, but we will find out."
Oh wow.
She goes to her office. She pulls up my medical records, honey. She comes back and I told her who my doctor was at the time for the ultrasound as well as for the uterine ablation.
Hmm.
And she was a little stunned because she was like, You got fibroids. And when I said I had a uterine ablation in 2020, she said uterine ablations don't work for women with fibroids.
I was mad.
I said, "Excuse
Oh,
me?" What do you
oh,
mean they don't work for women with fibroids? So
yeah.
when was somebody gonna tell me? When was somebody
What,
gonna tell
lady?
me? Like
What?
the fuck?
What? Hey, what did you
So
say?
she goes to her office, she pulls up my medical record, and she comes back to the exam room. By this time, I'm putting my clothes on, right? Got my clothes on by this time. She says to me, she says, "Your ultrasound from 2019 says you have fibroids. You should have never had a uterine ablation in 2020. Prior doctor who had to go on vacation instead of doing my surgery should have told you that the procedure would not work for you. And she should have actually recommended to you that you have a hysterectomy because your fibroids were very large then." I said, "What's very large?" She said, "One was 5.5 centimeters."
Huge.
I said, "Ooh, okay." She said, "I'm going to send you for another ultrasound so we can see what size they are now." She said, "But I really want you to understand that the best course of action for you may be having a hysterectomy."
Were you shocked?
I was shocked but relieved because now I know what the fuck is wrong with me. I'm
No.
shocked that this other doctor that's supposed to be so stellar and they got her picture on walls and all this other shit,
Yeah.
but her ignorant ass didn't tell me I fucking had fibroids, but the ultrasound said I had fibroids. And
With
they
your
gave
want
me a
to go
copy.
on vacation while you got a job
Right,
to do ass.
right. Would you got time to go on vacation, but you ain't got time to tell me what my fucking diagnosis is. So I
Man.
have another ultrasound. And it's within, you know, days of this appointment. And I go back to the doctor and she says, "Yes, your fibroids are larger. One of them is 11 centimeters. Do
Mm.
you want to have a hysterectomy? Is this what you want?" I said, "Well, I can't have children. So I'm not attached to my uterus anymore. Haven't had a relationship with it since I was in my early 30s. So I'm not, this, it's not, I don't feel like I'd be losing anything." She said, "Okay." She said, "Your ovaries and your cervix are healthy. Since you had your tubes tied, we will only remove anything that was remaining of your fallopian tubes. And they call it a super cervical hysterectomy."
Okay.
I kept my cervix. I could have had it removed, but I kept it because it's healthy.
Hmm.
There's no endometriosis or anything going on with my cervix. There's no, my pap smear
When
came back
fix
completely
was not
clean.
broken.
There's, yeah, there's no cancer or anything, no cells or anything to be concerned about. I said, I'll keep my cervix. I kept my ovaries so I wouldn't be pushed fully into menopause because you take out your ovaries, you no longer produce estrogen.
Right.
I'm already having hot flashes and night sweats. I ain't want it to immediately get worse.
Not trying to stove, ma'am, sir. Not at all.
I'll keep them since they healthy too. The egg pop out, it's just gonna dissipate. It don't connect to nothing. It don't attach to nothing because there's nothing there for it to attach to. It literally becomes a little ball of nothingness that just kind of disperses throughout the body, and my blood cells carried on to heaven. So,
And that's
so
that.
that's it. So and you can't accidentally get pregnant because you have ovaries if you don't have a uterus.
Correct.
So I said, okay, fine. And after some discussion and her explaining to me, like breaking it down to me, what all the procedure would entail from beginning to end, okay? Like, I got an education
Yeah.
on my surgery, okay? I got explained, okay? And also, we still in a pandemic, mind you. This is the
Yeah,
doctors
that
and
part
hospitals consider
for
this
sure.
still being the pandemic. They don't give a fuck what nobody else talking about. We still in a pandemic, okay? So the earliest they could schedule my procedure was August of this year. And they tried to do it earlier, but that was the earliest they could get because of other procedures that needed to be done. And some things that had people had put off since the beginning of the pandemic, they needed to get those surgeries now. Because
Yeah.
they had to do the very important surgeries first, and then they moved on to the optional and elective surgeries. Everybody else kind of get in where they fit in.
Yeah.
So August 15th was the earliest they could schedule my appointment for. That meant I needed to make preparations because it wasn't going to be no 1 week off from work. It was going to be 8 weeks off from work. No sex, no bathing for 6 weeks minimum. No driving. Sit in the bed with your legs up, your remote control type shit. You
And,
don't do
and
nothing for 8 weeks.
post up.
Post up, relax, go to sleep, wake up, eat, pee, take a shit, do it all over again. That's it. So we're renovating a house. We had to make decisions about where do we stop these renovations for the time being. What do we do, get it done with so I can be comfortable and then put off the other stuff until after I'm healed. So we decided we would focus on the renovations, the baseline renovations I wanted in my bedroom, which involved putting a coat of primer all over the walls because the walls used to be pink. We don't have no pink walls no more.
Yeah.
And installing the blinds, uh, removing, redoing the closets and all the things that I wanted done so I would be comfortable during my recovery period.
Yeah, that was a good thing to do.
And it meant that I couldn't put the final paint color I wanted, or I couldn't put in a lot of the decor stuff that I wanted, but I got the base stuff done and I'm comfortable. So they actually called me at the end of July, close to the end of July, and said they could move my procedure up. But the problem was I wasn't ready. I still had a couple of things that I wanted to do to make sure I was comfortable. And if I had moved it up, those things would not have been done. And I would be sitting in my bedroom upset.
Right, because you could have went on and knocked them out.
So I said, no, thank you. I appreciate y'all making the effort to try to move my date up, but I'm going to stick with the 15th. Mind you, by this time, I could barely walk. I was out of breath when I would walk.
That gives me chills so
I
bad.
was in so much pain. I was in so much pain. And then a week before the procedure, you can't take any pain medication. You
I
can't take
wanted
any supplements. So all the things that were helping me to be able to just be. I could no longer use those coping mechanisms. I couldn't have no edible. I couldn't have no Tylenol.
I
I
want to
couldn't
go
have no
flatten the old
Motrin.
girl's tires. I want to go flatten her. You know what? It
Listen,
was
I
so
know
many things happening because this is because of a lack of interest
it's
in
because
your patient
yes, and negligence
and
and
their
ignorance
negligence.
and selfishness. And I also, during that time, we ended up canceling plans to
Yeah.
go to New York because I could not hardly walk.
I was so excited to go, but things happened.
Things happen, and I feel like
That-
New York ain't going nowhere. It'll still
Yeah.
be there, and I wanted to be able to enjoy it. And if I had tried to go feeling how I was feeling during that time, I would not have enjoyed myself and it would have been a waste of time because I don't travel somewhere and not have fun. I don't do that shit. You
Yeah.
know what I'm
And
saying?
you're not
Like,
well. You're supposed to be well when you go out and
exactly.
travel and enjoy.
Exactly.
So
So for me, it's like, I don't care if it was like a trip to the movies. I'm not going if I don't feel good because I want to enjoy myself. And the act of
right.
going is not going to physically make me feel better. So I'm going to stay my ass at home. I treat it the same way. I we managed to get the things done that I needed to have done before the 15th rolled around. I did, however, also consult with attorneys, okay, because I wanted to sue the dumbass first doctor.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, in the state of Michigan, malpractice and negligence laws are written in a way that if you don't die or end up permanently disabled, you don't have a case.
Which is the loophole in all of this because what she done or neglected to do in this case was take every measure to make sure every option was available based on what was there. How do you miss what's there in front of you? How are you not considering that? How are you not
Mhm.
considering what you're recommending? How are you not considering how it's going to affect my life if the shit is not what I'm supposed to have?
How do you just ignore an
What?
ultrasound?
Wait, they do that?
She literally just ignored the ultrasound like it never happened. And it happened. And it told her what was wrong with me. And she had like she ain't never see it. So the attorneys were honest with me.
Great.
It's not that you're not wrong. It's not that she's not negligent. It's that you are alive and you are not permanently disabled.
And I couldn't go to jail.
So I put a hex on her instead. Let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. You know, put a hex on that bitch instead. She gonna get hers. Okay, she gonna get hers.
Your ass
I
is
swear to
crazy.
God, she gonna get hers. You don't play with me and get away with it. You gonna get yours. I swear she gonna get hers.
Oh my god.
So the lesson for me was s- stick to black doctors. For one,
Yeah.
don't even trust motherfuckers that say they was taught by the black doctors that you already have a relationship with. They need to be black doctors too. Okay. I've never had a negative experience with a black doctor. I never have. Two of my doctors, my primary care physician is from Ghana.
Really?
Okay. Oh yeah, he from Ghana. I can't even say his last name.
Okay.
And and that man and I have had some very intelligent conversation. When I told him that I was considering celibacy, he gave me a high five
Really?
and he said, I commend you. He said, because what a lot of people do not understand is that You only get one body.
That's right.
And every day I see people with STDs, HIV, and it's getting out of hand in our community. He said, I see more people in Detroit with STDs and HIV positive statuses than I did when I was in Ghana.
That's insane. That's insane. But that
He told me sex
that
is
makes
not
me
so
feel good.
important. Yeah, he said sex is not so important that people should be risking their lives to have it,
But they do it every day. It
but
was
they
a
doing it every
girl.
day.
It was a girl. I was watching a video of this girl earlier. Her name is not coming to me, but it was the young girl that was saying that she had slept with the 30 pro ball players or some shit like that. What is that girl name? Anyways, she was very, very vocal and bragging about how many men she had slept with without a condom.
Ew.
Where I swear to God, I I don't know if I had been under a rock because apparently some lots of people been talking about this girl. I can't think of the girl name.
Really?
Yeah, I'm gonna send it to you as soon as I find it.
I
But
don't know if I want to see
the
that because
thing
that
of it
grosses me
was,
out. I ain't even gonna lie to you. That shit gross me out.
you
Like
know what
what?
I'm saying? I could not even remember being able to fix my face while I was looking at this interview. It was on Vlad TV. That's where it was. I'm gonna find it though. And literally, did she proud of that?
Right. Nah, we not doing none of that.
Like what?
But see, here's the thing. For me, him being a black man, commending me on a choice to become celibate
Hmm.
for my not just my mental health, but my physical,
Right.
it actually made me feel more empowered and it made it easier for me to fully commit to it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because I was talking to him and I was kind of like I was still trying to decide if this is what I need to do. You know, is this how I need to handle this? What would the benefits be for me? And the benefits have been stellar. Okay, I'm just gonna say it. Um, being celibate has increased my discernment. It has definitely empowered me in other parts of my life as far as making decisions. I don't take no bullshit. I
Yeah.
don't feel obligated. I cannot be manipulated. Can't no dude be like, you gonna give me this pussy, nigga. You gonna have to rape me. Okay?
Yeah.
Let's be clear. Cause who the fuck are you? It has helped to heal some trauma. Okay. It has help me to balance myself emotionally with my physical. I knew one thing. If I ain't know shit else when I was dealing with all this pain, it ain't no STD and it ain't HIV.
And
I
that
knew that up front because I hadn't been having sex with nobody.
right.
So it wasn't like, oh my God, what's going on with my body? Am I dying from this or having this with this? It was
Yeah,
like,
those things
whatever the fuck
aren't
it
in
is.
question.
Right. Whatever the fuck it is, it ain't contagious. It ain't communicable. Whatever the fuck it is. I knew that off rip.
Yeah.
And I was confident in that off rip. I believe for me, celibacy has increased my spirituality as well as my spiritual power. That's what I said I put a hex on that bitch. Because celibacy actually takes you closer to who God meant for you to be without you feeling the need to have accountability, not accountability, but validation and approval from other people. When you can walk upright in yourself and people can't shame you for who you are, like can't nobody shame you for being celibate. Because it's like we live in a world where you either a virgin or a hoe. Okay. I don't
It
give a
is
fuck what
very
nobody
few
think of me
things
either
in between.
way. And some people misconstrue that being celibate means that you are a prude, that you don't like sex. That's not true. Celibacy is a form of self discipline. and it actually makes you more powerful. It actually heightens your sexuality and your sensuality because it allows you to get to know yourself on a different level without the pressure of trying to please another person.
Yeah.
It allows you to find out what you really do and do not like, and it allows you to also learn how to communicate that. So if you do decide you want to get with somebody, you can say, I don't like that, I don't want to do that, this ain't what we doing. Nope. And it's so easy to say no to a man that I've even noticed, like, I don't even attract the same type of niggas no more.
But as
Like,
you shouldn't, because that's part of you growing. You just mentioned that.
but
You
it like changes your aura, and it strengthens your chakras, and it changes it changes everything about you to the point where the type of niggas that used to just approach me on the street, they fucking invisible now.
right.
Like, you don't even look at me because I have evolved past you. You're not even attractive to me. Don't even say nothing to me. Don't try to make eye contact. Don't say hi, beautiful. None of that shit. It gives you this armor almost. Like, I'm untouchable. I'm out of your reach. You don't deserve access to me.
Yeah.
So it actually it strengthens things about you, and it builds your confidence. It makes you more aware of the things that you allowed and what you should no longer allow. The discernment is amazing.
And I was gonna point that out. It's like you know, it's it's a broad spectrum of benefits from celibacy, because one of the things that I learned outside that, I think I did like a hot 3 weeks of withdrawal, like a drug addict.
Yeah, you go through a period of
You go through
withdrawal
a
for a
period of
minute. Yeah.
withdrawal because your body is your body, and people need to be more in tune with their bodies. Your body is going to crave other people.
And as women, we got to watch that time of the month when we are ovulating. That's when it'll hit you the most.
Oh man, oh my god.
Like, you got, once you can get over that though, you Gucci. Like,
Why, but why literally am I just now finding that out this year? Like literally just finding that out. And I'm like, that's crazy. But once you get past that, it's like your focus increases.
yes.
You're able to maneuver a little better where maybe previously you got stuck at an intersection. Like it's deep. It's like it's deep for real.
And here's the thing. So, I've had my surgery. I was obedient to my doctor. 8 weeks in the crib.
Ah,
I finally started getting consistent restful sleep because I'm no longer in pain. And I knew I was sleep deprived. I've been
yeah,
sleep deprived for years though. I knew it, but I really knew it once I was in my house, in my bed after the surgery, and the way my body just seemed to relax into my queen size mattress child.
yeah.
Okay. Like, my body had never been that relaxed. I'm at least say for at least 4 years. My body had never been that
That's a
relaxed while
long
sleeping.
time to be deprived in that matter. But one thing about it, and I knew you was tired, girl, because I think it was one day you was like this bad. I'm just tired. I want to just go to sleep. And I felt so bad because I'm like, I know, boo, I know you do. But one thing about it though, once your body is deprived of proper rest and sleep, it will, I promise you, it'll catch up with you.
My body was thanking me
I know it
for the
was.
good rest. It was like, yay, and I was sleeping just like forever. I was sleeping 10, 12 hours.
Yeah.
And I was enjoying it. I ain't had shit else to do. I was supposed to be watching stuff in my Netflix queue. I was asleep. Some of those same shows and movies are still in my Netflix queue, okay? And my 8 weeks of recovery is over. I'm
Yeah.
10 weeks, I'm 10 weeks post-op now.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what, though? I'm getting such good sleep. I don't even care. I was falling asleep on TV shows and wake up and it would be over. I ain't care. It was so good to get some sleep. Because when I first realized that I was having sleep deprivation of any kind whatsoever, I was afraid it was gonna start to fuck with my mental. Okay, because it will. If you're not careful, you could end up causing yourself to have a whole stroke because you ain't getting sleep.
Yep.
But I didn't have that problem. My mental was still intact. I wasn't, my depression was not getting worse, but having the surgery, my depression is gone because
Yeah.
I'm not in pain anymore. And I'm one of those people, depression is related to how I feel physically. And I no period, no period. Now,
Yay.
mind you, they do have a little asterisk that says for up to a year, you could have occasional spotting because your body is still healing and an organ was removed.
Yeah.
But because I only had my uterus and not my ovaries and my cervix removed, my healing would probably be less than a year, before a year, because I still have those other things intact. Again, I chose to keep my cervix partially because if I do decide that I want to give somebody some, I don't want no empty space.
Right.
Bro, you need a wall. This as
Yeah.
far as you go. I don't want you getting excited, thinking thinking you all about to be all up in my stomach. We ain't doing that. We ain't doing that. You need to know this is as far as you go.
Oh, that.
Listen, I don't care. I don't care who you are. Care how it make you feel. Whatever you got to work with, this is as far as it go.
This
It
this
don't
is
go past this point.
this is why I love you because you don't give a shit. You gonna tell it like it is.
Period. The cervix is the wall. This is the end of the line, sir. You cannot go past this point. Okay. So, and I didn't want it to feel different for me. I'm used to having a cervix. I ain't trying to be without one if I ain't gotta be. I want to know that there's a wall there too. Like this is as far as he go.
Right.
And so again, kept the ovaries for the control of the estrogen, so that I wouldn't be just fully in menopause. I am in what is considered medical menopause because I no longer have a period. But I still do have a night sweat, but not the
So
hot
not
flashes.
icky.
But the night sweats are not as bad as they were.
Okay.
I used to soak my sheets. I used to have to get up and strip my bed and put down the towel and go back to sleep in the middle of the night because I would have night sweats so awful that, and I'm talking about, I didn't just sweat through my sheets and I was laying here naked. I mean, I had to go back to wearing pajamas. For a long time, I just slept naked, strawed out. Hey, woo! I didn't give a damn. But the night sweats kicked in to the point where I started to wear night clothes, pajamas and sleep shirts, and I would sweat through those
Oh my gosh.
and my top sheet and my fitted sheet and my pillowcases. So I would have to get up, change my nightwear, okay? Take a shower, get up, take a shower, okay? Because I'm sweating profusely. And I done sweated through my night clothes as well as my bed linens. And
Oh,
then gotta lay down in a towel. So I don't have to do that no more. If I do sweat a little bit, eh, it dry.
but
It
it
dry.
wasn't like the kiddie pool.
No, it's not the kiddie pool no more. Nah, it might just be my head. My head might sweat. You know what I'm saying? I always sweat in my head first, even when I exercise. So my head might just sweat.
Yeah.
That's why I wear my hair natural anyway. I don't give a damn. Um, as long as I ain't got no press out, I'm straight. You know, I ain't doing no silk press no time soon. Um, and now I am giving myself grace on the time frame to lose weight
Yep.
because I want to get this waist back down to 29 inches. It's already shrinking because what was making it big is no longer there. But as soon as the surgery was over, they put a medical device on me to put pain meds directly into my abdominal area. And that was on me for like a week and a half, almost 2 weeks until it was empty. It's like a lidocaine solution that is by way of catheter that goes in through my skin, and it was pumping medication into me.
Was it heavy to carry around?
Yes, it was a little bit heavy. It was about 3 pounds or so. And then after that was removed, I was still a little swollen, and I was like, "Ooh, I look like I just had a baby child." I was like, can't
Mm,
wait to get rid of this because I was walking around looking like I had just had a baby. And mind you, my uterus was huge. It weighed about 8 pounds.
mm.
Um, and it has stretched me out. That's why my waist got bigger. It has stretched me out. So after the surgery and everything, and even after the swelling went down, I still kind of look like I had just had a baby. And so I wear my waist trainers now. Walking and getting my exercise. I'm taking my supplements again. I was allowed to start taking my supplements as soon as I returned home from the hospital.
That's good news.
And I was only hospitalized for 3 days. Um, I I appreciate the overall experience because I know that somebody might benefit from learning how to approach their situation from mine. So I don't mind sharing it with people. And then I had some very thoughtful people share their experiences with me that allowed me to not be as nervous about my experience.
Yeah. And
Everybody's surgery is a little bit different because every doctor doesn't do the exact same type of procedure. But hearing other women's stories helped me to better make decisions about what to eat after my surgery, um, because you can't eat everything.
right.
Because depending on how your anesthesia and stuff was administered to you, your esophagus could be, affected, your stomach could be upset easily, that kind of stuff. Um, and I had they gave me some of everything. I had they put some type of device directly into my abdomen to numb my stomach. I had I was put to sleep and they gave me a little bit of fentanyl, and so it was like a lot of things going on, but my overall pain afterwards is nothing compared to the pain that I had been in for almost 4 years or
That's
so. And for that, I'm cool. Like right now, I'm dealing with the fact that my arthritis was impacted by having them fibroids, because you never think that things are like connected like that or are affected like that. And the lot of the issues I was having with my arthritis was because I had fibroids. The fibroids were pressing on nerves
extra
and
weight.
tendons, and it was extra weight, and it was making my arthritis worse than what it would have been otherwise. I haven't had a swollen knee in 10 weeks. I mean, and I'm talking about for 8 weeks, I sat on my ass. And typically, if I had been sitting and not exercising for that period of time, my knees would have been in pain because exercise is actually keeping my arthritis at bay, and it helped my arthritis to do better. So I was really kind of scared, like, oh, I can't do nothing. I can't, I was allowed to go for a walk around the neighborhood, but I couldn't climb no stairs. I couldn't get no strenuous exercise. I couldn't lift nothing more than 5 pounds. So the exercises that I typically would have been doing to keep my arthritis away, I was not allowed to do any of that for 8 weeks. So I was scared that my knees was gonna swell up and I was gonna have all this arthritis pain. I was gonna need to pull out the Voltaren
Well,
and
yeah, because
everything.
you're used to moving though. You're used to moving.
Right,
It's
right.
put a monkey wrench in a whole lot of shit.
Right. And that's I was scared. I was like, oh shit, I'm gonna be like a 95-year-old woman when this shit is over. I'm not gonna be able to walk. And none of that happened. My knees actually, the only thing they do is pop sometimes. And a banana make that stop.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
haven't had no pain or discomfort in my knees. And because we were able to get things done around the house that I wanted to get done, I am not feeling anxious about other things that need to be done. I can take my time with those things. I got my treadmill. I got my squat machine, I got my yoga mat instead of going to the gym because, I don't feel like adding that to the gas and such. So I renewed my Daily Burn subscription so I could work out at home because I used to do Daily Burn years ago. It's how I got my waist down to 29 inches. So I renewed that subscription so that I can do yoga, Pilates right in my home, and those are things that are highly recommended for women who've had a hysterectomy to help to strengthen your core, tighten all that up, and help you lose weight. So that I'm able to do that at home. I already have more energy, but I have to rebuild my stamina. And that's what I'm working on. So I try to walk every day, whether it's around the block or on the treadmill, whether it's for 10 minutes or 15. And I just casual walk is not a race. I'm not competing with nobody.
Yep, it's a
I'm
miracle.
just right. I'm just rebuilding my stamina and my strength and allowing my body to heal. And however long that takes, yeah, I would like for it to take 6 months instead of a year. But I'm still be in my little Daisy Dukes come that summer one way or the other.
Listen, but it's about that discipline though. And
Right.
instead of, the fast results are not important. The important thing is that you got a better piece of peace, if that makes sense, because now you don't have to worry about, pain, like years of pain.
Right.
And with still healing, you get a chance to do that without worrying about reverting back. So it's a
Exactly.
great thing that it was able to be fixed in the time frame that it was able to be fixed, because what if it had gone on for longer, or
Well, see, yeah. And that's the thing. My doctor and I had a conversation because she said to me, she said, if you don't want to have surgery, you can just wait on menopause because a lot of women get relief from their fibroids because of menopause, because with menopause, you're no longer producing estrogen, and that's what the fibroids grow from,
right.
right? The problem is for me and the women I share DNA with is that some of those women that came before me and are still living, and some that are not, have one thing in common. They didn't necessarily go into menopause in their 50s. Some of them was in their 60s, almost 70 years old when they hit menopause,
Child,
which
just take
means,
me now. Just take me.
listen,
Look,
okay,
I'm
and
not about to do
imagine,
that. We not about to
imagine,
do none of that shit. I, 70. Oh,
yes,
no.
mind you, I'm telling you, I got cousins that are living right now that will tell you they was 60 plus when they hit menopause. This didn't happen in their 50s. It was just like they 50s, they was still having a cycle every fucking month, okay?
I can't imagine.
And keep in mind, I started when I was 9 years old.
That's a long ass time.
I've already been doing this for almost 40 years at this point. You mean to tell me I could possibly have to continue to do this for another 20?
Hell,
And I got these fibroids?
no. Mm-mm.
So I said to the doctor, I said, and I told her about my family history of women still having menstrual cycles late in life. I said, and I can't wait until then because this is too much pain on my body right now. This is not how I plan to spend my 40s. This is not how I plan to spend my 50s. I want to be done with this because it's absolutely unnecessary for me to have a period or keep this uterus. There's no value in that for me at all. And anything that does not serve me needs to go. And I can't wait on Mother Nature for something that could take another 20 years.
Oh my, I just get my back started hurting just thinking about that. Let me tell you that, because no, ma'am. I till I'm 60 or 70.
Yeah.
Oh no, baby. We not
Yeah,
about
my
to do that.
family they don't it don't happen right away. It don't happen because you turn 40. It don't happen because you turn 50. You could be 60 years old and still having a period if you related to me.
Your ass say, well, it ain't gonna be the kid.
Ain't gonna be me. Ain't gonna be me. We ain't doing none of this shit. Take it out.
It can
Take it
go.
out. Send it
Um,
to hell.
listen, I'm so glad we did this episode because you know, we do need to take care, better care of our bodies, but we also need to be very vocal about things that are going wrong and make sure you taking control of your care because you can't just be out here letting the doctor tell you anything. Ask questions.
And
Ask
don't be scared to change doctors.
if
Don't be
they're not
scared to change
serving
doctors. You
you,
don't owe them no loyalty.
if they are not serving you in your best interest as they should be, because you're the patient and every patient is supposed to get the same level of care whether you are covered by Medicaid or Blue Cross Blue Shield. Make sure you're asking the appropriate questions, and if you're not being cared for in a way that's going to ensure that you are going to be better for that care, find some other care somewhere else.
Mhm.
That's it. That's just it. But this was an important conversation because I don't even think, I could be very wrong, but I don't think it's just a lot of people put a lot of thought into what fibroids can cause.
And
And
that's the thing too. That's the thing too. Even from the legal community, they don't consider fibroids to be something detrimental to women.
which
That's
is
another
amazing.
reason why it's hard to sue a doctor who doesn't take care of a woman who has fibroids in an appropriate manner and get them the care that they need expeditiously is because the legal community does not acknowledge how horrible having fibroids can actually be. They don't take into consideration that they can burst and a woman could bleed to death. They don't take into consideration that it can cause other parts of your body to have issues. It can press on your bladder, press on your intestines, cause your arthritis to flare up, cause you severe physical pain. They don't count any of that. It's and it's not a lot of research done about fibroids. Like they should really treat it like cancer
Right. Absolutely.
because they are tumors and they develop from cells. They just happen to not be cancerous cells, but they can do a lot of detrimental damage to a woman's body. There are women who walk around looking like they are a whole 9 months pregnant and it's
And it really be
fibroid.
fibroids. Yeah.
And
Yep.
because you don't have an ultrasound unless you're pregnant, a lot of times they just discount it. Oh, that I just gained weight and I can't lose it. You know what I'm saying? But they really are experiencing fibroids because not everyone's fibroids present with pain
Yeah.
because there are some people that have fibroids larger than what I had, but they're not feeling any physical pain. But it doesn't mean that the fibroids are not still doing damage because they're pushing things out of place inside of your body. They were pushing against my bladder, my intestines, pushing, those are organs. Those are other organs, pushing those organs out of place. And that is bad for your body. So as women, we are not given consideration when it comes to fibroids because the medical community tells the legal community that they're harmless because they're not cancer, even though they develop like cancer tumors do.
I'm hoping that this reaches the people that will continue the conversation because it's so much, actually so much more to this conversation when it comes to the health of our bodies, and it's not enough people talking about it. It's not enough people sharing their experiences, for real.
Hmm.
Well, y'all, it has been yet another episode of the Ladies locker room. You just heard primarily from my lovely co-host, Miss Angela T. Jones. This was called Me versus My Uterus.
And I
Yeah.
changed my name
You did.
because people may not know that we called it that also because that was my Twitter, me versus my
Yes.
uterus, while I was going through this process. Now that my
Yes.
surgery is over and I'm 10 weeks post op, I am now prepared to be sick of me.
I can see it. It was a natural evolution. Oh my God. Please repeat that so they know where you are on Twitter, ma'am.
On Twitter, I am, it's still at best superwoman, but it says prepare to be sick of me.
Because listen, you gonna bounce back. It's gonna be so hard. I,
Okay.
I can't wait. I can't wait. And we still gonna hit them New York streets. Y'all watch. Y'all
Oh,
wait.
for sure.
Y'all wait for it. I am Lucretia L. Rogers. You can find me on Instagram at L Rogers Global and on the World Wide Web at lrogersglobal.com. Thank you guys for tuning in. We'll catch y'all next time.
Peace.